What episode is it? It's 31, right?
31.
Wait, is it 31 or 32?
Let me take a look. Google Docs. Oh, you know what? I already have the YouTube open. This is 32.
Okay.
32. Dude. You may laugh or try and punch me through the internet for the tweet that I sent out. Probably a little both.
My manhood! No!
Ow, my pride.
My ass.
Trying to see. I remember looking at the end of last week, seeing the rankings, the power standings, and seeing Seattle Surge at the bottom there.
With London.
Yeah.
They're not the only ones down there. Fuck. Oh, I still gotta get this shit. Okay.
Pro standings. Here we go.
Alright, ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hop! What's up, everybody? It's the LFTG podcast, episode 32. Back at it again with your boys. We got the wonderful, I'm going to introduce you first. The wonderful, the luscious, the bearded, the wizard, the man with a plan. Sitting next to me, kind of always, sometimes, but not really.
Mohawk, completely change of scenery.
Yeah.
We can get more on that later. If you could tell, I'm not in my normal space.
On the road again.
On the road again.
And then I am refreshed. Today is a special episode. Obviously, it's the day of the morning of the Major 3. So we're going to be covering everything about the CDL today. Going over a couple topics, which you see on screen. An additional one that I didn't add. We actually need to go over last week's matches as well. So let's start off with that. Let's start off the last week of Stage 3 for regulation play. It's now concluded. It was a pretty interesting week of matches. I was left battered and disappointed. But man, dude, what the... All right, let's go ahead. Let's start with Thursday. You got your pick'ems up?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, so you beat me again in the points today. I already have the matches tallied up. You're sitting pretty at 50.
Beat you in points from our standings or from
both
the actual... Both of them? Wow, and I did awful. I feel like I did terrible.
You predicted 6 matches right, though, right?
1, 2, 3, 4. I predicted 1, 2, 3. Correct. Yes, I predicted 6 right.
I predicted 5 correct.
Wow.
I mean,
and I got that big
you
money
got the big
Mountain
bonus.
Dew marquee
Oh,
match.
so
We're
did
gonna
I.
hit that a little bit
Oh
later.
no, fuck you. No. I didn't. Do you know why I didn't? Because they decided not to put the last match as the game fuel match. If it would have been Florida and LA Gorillas, I would have predicted it 100% correct.
Right.
Anyway, all right, let's go ahead. Let's start out with Thursday. We had the Minnesota Rocker versus LA Gorillas. I predicted this one 100% correct. We have Minnesota Rocker taking on LA Gorillas. It kind of went according to plan. Both these teams have been like consistently okay. We expected some consistently okay to be met with some consistently okay. I predicted a 3-2 at this match. I don't know what you did.
I predicted a 3-1 for LA Gorillas, primarily just because I've been super, super lackluster on Minnesota Rocker. Like at the beginning of the season, I'm just like, I put them on a pedestal, and I'm like, this team is great, they're phenomenal, and then they just lost so much grace that I was like, for me, bottom 3 teams, LA Gorillas constantly there, but I had faith that they were going to take it 3-1, and I was incorrect, way incorrect.
Then on the second match of Thursday, we had, and this was my 50-50. I flipped the coin and landed on it completely incorrect. New York Subliners ended up 3-1ing Optic Chicago. Optic Chicago, they haven't won a respawn against a top 6 team in a long time.
Yeah,
their S&D looked amazing. Their S&D looked really, really good. But the issue right now is they seem to be having quite a bit of a disconnect on these respawn game modes. I don't know if they're not able to follow Envoy around the map. I don't know what the disconnect is there, but they're having a hard time regrouping. I know this is one of the matches you predicted correct.
Correct, but I said it was going to be a 3-1. So I got points, but I didn't get maximum points. But yeah, no, Optic just... they're just in a weird place right now. And again, like, of course, I'm always going to back New York Subliners. To me, constantly a top 3 team. They always play phenomenal. They have a couple of off weeks, but especially coming in with this Optic, that's just way off. Yeah, that was an easy prediction for me, but I said 3. It was going to be a 3-2, and it was a 3-1.
Yeah, a little bit more dominance. This match, I did predict 100% correct. The first match of Friday, which was Atlanta versus Seattle Surge. Seattle Surge recently making a team change. We'll talk more about that later with Decimate. Atlanta's had their number since the beginning of the season. I believe they would have their number again. 3-1. It was a pretty easy call. I wasn't going to bluff myself there. And then on Friday, we had a bit of a weird matchup. We had Dallas Empire versus the Florida Mutineers. I got the match correct. However, I thought it was going to be a lot closer than it was.
Oh, yeah.
I had them all the way going to Game 5.
Yeah, this was shocking to me. I had it as well going to a Game 5. I actually had Dallas winning this one, though. But I remember opening my phone and like looking at Twitter and be like, whatever. Cool meme. Whatever. This is not... No way this is accurate. Not in 100 years. You want to talk about a team that has fallen from grace since the beginning of the season? Dallas Empire. It's shocking to me.
I think they've kind of made a couple of management mistakes, so that's neither here or there. We're going to keep moving on to Saturday.
No, you're talking from a management standpoint. Their Overwatch team in the same wheelhouse literally just won the May Mayhem. Like, literally came from behind. They were the underdogs and won that. So you're like, from an organizational standpoint, they have all the tools necessary they need. It's just the players aren't clicking.
I agree with you 100%. We're going to go ahead and talk. So just a heads up, we have our first topic after this recap is going to be team changes. And then we're going to go, best believe we're going to cover the Dallas Empire when we're talking about team changes. The first match on Saturday, I had predicted correct. I had Toronto. I had them 3-1 over Paris. I had Paris putting up a little bit more of a fight, but it was a hot 3-0. I'm assuming you had the same. You had Toronto winning that as well, right?
I did. I had that as a 3-1 though. I was kind of shocked. I mean, you're talking right now. FaZe and Ultra are arguably which team is going to come out of this major number 1 again. Right. So not surprising there.
Right. And then This match I had anticipated LA Thieves. We have LA Thieves versus Subliners. I had anticipated them getting used to Hook. It looked like they haven't done that already. New York staying strong, winning that 3-1. This is a match that you also had.
So upsetting. So as somebody again, super hot on Subliners, I had this as a 3-1 for Thieves, and it was the complete flip. So shocked. I was happy. I was elated, but I was also very depressed that I did not predict this one correctly.
It happens, man. It happens. New York staying strong throughout the weekend, going 2-0, beating Optic and LA Thieves. Obviously, those are the last two matches. They end up on the winner's side. We have Florida Mutineers versus LA Gorillas. I predicted this one 100% correct. Florida, even though they 3-0'd Dallas, I had obviously filled this out before. I had them struggling and winning against Dallas, but I also had them struggling and winning against LA Gorillas. I feel like, I don't know what it is. It's inconsistency with this team, and I feel like no matter who they play against, granted, we had them 3-0 Dallas, but for LAG to take 2 maps off them, big ups to LAG, playing consistently there. Taking everybody. They played Minnesota and Florida. They went to a game 5 with both of those teams. Could have easily won both series. Yep. So good job by Florida Mutineers. I believe, they go 2-0 this week as well. But I think, they did end up in winners. They ended up in a 3rd seed in winners side. Let's see what we got here. And then who did you have? Who did you have for that?
I had Florida winning that one. I had it as a 3-1 though. So I predicted the match correct, but not the rounds. Surprising to me how close that match was with LA Gorillas.
For real. And then, so we have Seattle Surge versus London Royal Ravens. Bro, I've never seen a team fall apart faster in Respawn in my whole entire life, dude. Here's the thing. They got smoked in the hard points. The control was pretty close. The control could have been either way. They made a couple mistakes.
Back around now. You're good.
No. This is my Sounders.
I know that's the Sounders hat, but I'm just saying.
Hey, they won yesterday. They beat San Jose. Sounders are fine. They've won 2 games. They're first in the division. I don't want to hear it. But Seattle Surge, I should put away the shirt. Really, they got destroyed in the Respawn, but then they shit on London in the S&D. The S&D wasn't even close. So I don't know what they have to do, because it seems like a complete reversal of what they were doing. Before, they were doing pretty good in the Respawn. They were winning most of their hard points, and now they're losing the hard points, but they're winning S&Ds. They're never gonna win a control. This is a team.
They gotta land their shots. That's the biggest thing that I'm seeing. They gotta land their shots, even if it's not even if it's a 2v1. If it's a 2v1. Two Seattle Surge players against one player, they're still missing shots.
I don't get it. I don't get unless it's search and destroy. Because they work really well together. They need to bring some of that teamwork over. That's all you can really say about the squad right now. London ends up tying them in points in the league, so both of them were tied for last place. So don't get it twisted, London. You're still down there. This was, I predicted if Optic won against New York, they were going to beat Atlanta. They didn't win against New York, so they lost to Atlanta. Not only did they lose to Atlanta, they got shit on by Atlanta. Hot 3-0, but there was a controversy. Did you hear about this?
No, I don't know.
So after the series, apparently they were playing on an Atlanta host. And Chicago didn't know about it. So Chicago thought they were going to be playing on a St. Louis host because that's what they've been playing them on all season.
Yeah.
So people on Atlanta were getting like 5 ping, and then people on the players on Chicago were getting about 30 to 40.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty significant difference. I don't think with how these two teams were playing, I don't think even if they were all of them were on 10 to 20 ping, I don't think it would have changed the outcome of this match. Optic came out pretty flat with their opening strategies off the break of the hard point, but playing a team like Atlanta is literally the last team you want to play on like high ping. Because they just don't die, man. They're so fast. Yeah. The play style fits perfectly. So a little bit of a controversy there with the server issue.
So let's touch base on that. What is the actual? Do you know what is the protocol for? Does CDL actually host the lobby and then the players join that, or is that up to the teams? They switch host back and forth?
No, so the CDL hosts the lobby.
Okay.
The CDL hosts the lobby, and then they choose a server, and they choose a server that's most fair. Apparently,
Gotcha.
they had sent an email to Chicago notifying them that they would probably be playing on Atlanta servers. I don't know if there was an issue with the St. Louis server or not. Envoy said he tried to say something about it, but the referee was on vacation. The person refereeing their match was on vacation, and then didn't get back until the day of their match, so they didn't know if it had been resolved or not. I think this was a mistake on both ends. I think Optic could have done a lot more. They could have. You need to open up those emails. Make sure you're on. You make sure you're on a fair server. But however, I don't think this match should have even been tried to be scheduled on an Atlanta server. I don't think this. I mean, it's just kind of wild. I mean, all these teams are living in a location. So when one city has a host in their city, they're basically on LAN, and the other team's on LAN.
Yeah.
So I mean, I still think Optic would have lost if it was fair servers. However, I don't think they would have lost as bad as they did because they got Envoy dropped to 0.4, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen that kid do that. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to that. You predicted this 100% right. I don't know why I had a feeling Minnesota was gonna win this. I've just been super down on Dallas. If you would have, after watching that Florida-Dallas match, and you would have had me predict this again, I probably actually would have predicted this the same. I probably still would have had Dallas losing. But this is one that you did have 100% correct, right?
Yeah, I predicted 100% correct. And what's funny is, of the 16 points that I got in the pick'ems this week, this was 6 of them. So if I did not get this one 100% correct because it's the Game Fuel marquee match, I don't know where I would have landed points-wise. I'm averaging, 15 is my low. 15 points from the CDL pick'ems each round is about where I'm hovering. I got 23 the week before.
Yeah.
But this one, I just saw this one in my mind. I felt like Neo from the Matrix. It was just too easy to see. 3-1 for Dallas Empire. I still like Dallas Empire enough to be confident enough to beat Minnesota. And it's just weird that Minnesota, in a lot of these other matches, I just don't think they have the gumption to pick it up. So
after watching this, I kind of want to see how LAG performed against Minnesota and how they performed against Florida. I'd be curious to see a Florida-Minnesota matchup, just to kind of see how it would go, because that would probably be a toss-up. I would probably go with Florida just because of play style, but all right, we can move on from there. Before we get into this next week's predictions, I had a couple of topics I wanted to bring up. The first topic is team changes. Team changes. We had a lot of team changes over the 3. I kind of wanted to cover them. Just so if you guys aren't aware or haven't really been keeping up in between the major, we had Seattle bench Looney, put on Decimate. We had LA Thieves bench TJ. And remember in Major 2 or Stage 2, they already have made a team change, putting on Draza and Venom. But now we have LA Thieves roster is Draza, Venom, Kenny, and Hook. So Hook is the new addition. They moved TJ over to a sub. This is a particular team change that I don't necessarily agree with. I don't think TJ is the one that should have been going away. I feel like TJ has overperformed, especially in a game mode like Search and Destroy. And with Hook coming on, I feel like that helps them with their respawn. So I feel like maybe Venom was the person to bench. I mean, we don't really know, obviously. We don't know how the inner workings are. They would have gotten along with each other or what the stipulation was there. But LA Thieves, they've looked pretty good. They look pretty in form. They haven't gotten used to Hook just yet. I think this is going to be today is probably going to be, we're going to start seeing the light. We're going to start seeing how this team's going to be ending up in form at the end of this major and how they're going to be looking into playoffs. I don't see this team making another team change. If they do, they bring TJ back on for Venom. Yeah. Or and then TJ would be a flex. TJ would be a fantastic flex. And then Dallas, we talked tiny bit about them earlier. Dallas, they went 50-50 this weekend. They dropped Hook. They were struggling with Hook, But they were struggling against lower seeded teams. Now it seems to be a little bit more of an issue than it was. It's kind of weird. They kind of hit the reset button. I feel like I still don't know. They lost to Florida 3-0, but however, they did look like they were in form this last Sunday against Minnesota. I don't know necessarily if they made the right call. I would not have dropped Hook. I would have continued to work on anything. I probably would have made changes elsewhere. But I don't know what the falling out was there. But Fellow stepped it up on Sunday. Fellow had a pretty positive KD. I think he had a 1.7, which is pretty high. No, 1.7. He had 1.6, which is pretty high overall. Just on Sunday alone, however, Fellow did fall short, below positive on the days before. So Dallas, I don't know, it's still 50-50 mix. This is another team that we're going to have to keep our eye out throughout the major. I believe they are starting in losers. Let me double check. No, they're starting in winners.
This is interesting to me because I didn't actually peek any of the team changes. I actually yesterday or I think it was yesterday is when I put in my pick'ems and I was like, oh, I better get those in before the start of the major, and I didn't even look at any of the team changes. Yeah, so the intel I'm going off of is still off of like the previous weeks, and so it's interesting.
I mean, most of these changes have been made in the previous. I mean, just this last week. Oh, you're talking about you made the changes for this last weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be gut check time for a lot of these teams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially Dallas. I mean, they do start off, they're in the third seed of winners, so they're starting off that winners round 1. So they do have to win quite a few matches. Their first matchup's against Atlanta FaZe. So, I mean, that's a perfect place to test out where you are. And if you lose that, you end up in losers round 3. And you're going to have to either play an Optic, most likely, or Rocker. I mean, but we'll go. Yeah. But we'll go into predictions later. We had Florida. Havoc moved over for Slacked. Florida, this time, they are starting off on the winner side. So a little bit of improvement from stage 2 to stage 3. They're not starting off on losers anymore. So, I mean, that's an improvement right there. I mean, they still struggled a little bit halfway through the stage. But just to see them in winners, I mean, that's a good sign. Because there's a couple other teams down below, especially like Optic and Minnesota, that could easily been in winners. Let's go ahead and talk on. I mean, we talked on LA Thieves a little bit. They're starting off in winners now after falling very short the last stage. I think that's kind of what sparked the team changes. New York, we talked about it in previous weeks, but Diamond Con's out and Hydra is in. At first, I was like, I don't know, because Diamond Con looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But Diamond Con was a little bit slower of a player, and when Hydra came in, I mean, New York's been looking pretty undeniably one of the best teams in the game. They took first seed in their division. They ended up in the winners round 2 spot, same as Toronto Ultra. So this bracket's looking pretty dangerous so far. Toronto, obviously, Methods was out for Insight. You see a big improvement from them. They win stage 2. They make all the way to the first seed in stage 3. This was one of those ones I doubted at first. I still feel like they could use Methods sometimes. But I mean, they're looking like one of the best teams in the game, so you can't hate on them too much. Paris, they dropped Fire 40. They added on Temp. And Paris, I feel like, no pun intended, they've lost some of their fire by dropping Fire. I feel like they look a little less organized, and I feel like their organization was something that kind of kept them up and kept them going. It happens to be like that, man. I don't know. Temp's a great player. I don't know if Temp's the problem. I don't know what they need to do. So this is another weekend where they can really start to figure stuff out. And then LAG, they added Cheen. Chino, big money Cheen. They looked okay. They look about the same. LAG is just kind of one of these lower middle teams. And I think unless they do something spectacular, they're going to end up in losers almost every time. They did have a couple of good matches earlier on in the stage, but towards the later of the stage, they kind of just looked like they were falling back into their old form, which is kind of disappointing. And those are really all your team changes that were made at the end of stage 2 and throughout stage 3. A lot. It was a lot more this year than it was last year, that's for sure. But for now, we're going to go ahead and move on. I wanted to bring up this interesting topic. Teams to fix. Teams to fix. If you had to pick one team to fix, who would you pick? And do you have a solution, or would you just say they need to change?
This is a good topic because what's funny is like my mind immediately goes to New York subliners, but I don't think they need a fix. I think that they just need more cohesion. So to actually answer your question, I feel like I'm going to go with Dallas Empire. I feel like from an organizational standpoint, they are the previous champions. They come into this season, first couple of weeks they performed very well, and now they've just been on this downward slope. And it's very unfortunate to see because I'm still like in my heart, I'm like, I have Dallas Empire like ranked higher in my mind than they are actually on like the physical leaderboards.
Right.
And I think the thing there, like you were just saying, like the previous topic is like these team changes and Hook and all the stuff that's happening is like they just need consistency. They just need to find a roster. And you know what? It's fine to have a few rebuilding weeks. If you take 2 weeks to go into the next major and just, okay, guys, this is the team. This is the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. This is how we're going to play. Practice these game types. Where are we missing? And get this team to a more situation where they're more confident, they're more consistent, and they're able to take these fights because it just seems like as soon as they kind of lose any kind of grasp as far as being competitive within a match, they just kind of fall apart.
Right.
And I don't know that that's so much that it's actually the teams that they're playing are just outplaying them, or if it's just they're missing those opportunities. So I would say that's my Dallas Empire. Instead of actually making a change, they need to find a way to be more consistent.
Yeah, I can see that 100%. I would agree with you that Dallas is probably one of my second picks as far as teams that need to be changed. Mine's clear cut and obvious. I think Seattle, they made a great pickup with Decimate. I do think, however, a lot of people are forgetting what Looney did for the squad. I'm not saying bring Looney back, but what I'm saying is when Gunless performs well when Looney's around. Gunless is a weird player, man. Gunless is one of those players where sometimes he has a moment in every single title, and he hasn't hit his moment yet where he looks like the best player in the game. He did in Modern Warfare. He did in Black Ops 4. He's had multiple different titles where you're like, oh, this probably could be the best player in the game. But something happens. Usually it's mid-season where the player starts to go down. I know when Gunless was forming the squad with Octane, he really wanted to pick up some of his friends. He really likes playing with Looney, and he really likes playing with Pistini. Now that Looney's gone, I don't know if Gunless is going to be performing the same. Octane and Pristini played really, really well, even though they did suffer two pretty big losses. Both of those players performed really well, and then a lot of people like to point at Pristini because he dies a lot. But Pristini's your route man. He's one of those players that gets your entry frags. He opens up the door. There's a player on the market right now. This is my solution. Seattle, I'm putting it in the ether. Bench Gunless. I love Gunless. I love you, Big P. You're a cool dude.
See the pain just for you, those words escaping your mouth.
I love Gunless. Put Gunless on the bench. Pick up TJ and make him run your flex. TJ from LA Thieves. You're already starting to have a good search team. You improve your search, but you also add a player that you know can run a sub. That's the thing with Gunless. Sometimes, man, you just want to stick him on an assault rifle, man. You just want to throw him in an AR position. But when you have a player like Octane on your team, literally nicknamed the Human Turret, you cannot have another slow player. So if you throw a TJ, a fast-moving flex, a TJ has already talked about being a flex, possibly in the future, thinks he could easily do it. I think TJ could do it as well. I think this is a solution for this team. I think if TJ gets picked up on this squad, plays with Decimate, Pristini, and Octane, this team gets 5 times better. Mm-hmm. Which sucks to say because I really like Gunless. I mean, obviously the team, the changes are going to be made. We'll see how they play today. Who knows? They might come out and surprise us. But they have to beat LAG today. And then if they win, they have to beat Optic the next. So they're in a rough spot, man. They're in a rough spot. That's my solution. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic.
I think just real quick, I want to say I think that's an interesting kind of topic that people don't talk about, or like even like consideration behind the teams. Like, okay, so if you take Gunless and bench them, those players that aren't in your active lineup are still helping getting that team to shape.
Yep.
So those other subs, or like even your challengers team, those players having scrims are just going to help bring everybody up.
Yep.
So just because a player is benched doesn't mean that they're good enough to play, because they're still in that capacity of getting the team ready to win.
Oh, Methods is a perfect example. He's benched right now, and he's been streaming his AM8s. He looks better now than he did when he started, and he looked good when he started. I think he got better. Yeah. I think Methods is the best player in the world not on a team. 120%. Yeah. I think he's better. Dude, here's another improvement. Here's my wild card improvement. It probably won't happen because the content's too good. Take Optic, bench Dashy, and throw Methods as a flex. Bro. What? It would be so good. It would be so good. Methods, he doesn't miss. And I think he's better than Dashy right now. But people would try to kill me for saying that. But I get it. The green wall's strong. I understand. I was part of you at one point. Mm-hmm. But you brought up an interesting topic before the show started to me. I ended up trying to make a topic about the CDL and OWL sponsorship criteria has now changed. They're open to what? Explain this to me.
So as the news broke this morning from the Esports Observer, basically the powers that be at Activision have announced for not just the CDL, but also Overwatch League, that they are now opening sponsorship opportunities to alcoholic beverages and betting.
Fire.
And along with that news, I think they know their target demographic. I think they know their viewership. They have already announced that London Royal Ravens has already announced they have a new betting sponsor in the form of Midnight GG. Mm-hmm. And so we're already seeing, this was something that was already in the works before we even got this announcement. So now could see a Bud Light, you could see another alcohol sponsor come in, not just for the teams, but maybe for the leagues overall as well.
There's two things. There's two type of sponsorships. Well, three. There's three type of sponsorships that would take esports almost to the same notoriety as traditional sports. And you know what those three sponsorships? Your hotel, your flight, friggin' alcohol, man. Those are the three. Those are the golden three for traditional sports, man. Or every now and then you see a car company get thrown in there. But, dude, seeing that presented by Bud Light, dude, on every NFL thing, you're like, they're making the money off of it. And I think this opens up a lot of opportunity for the league. Obviously, it's a profit-sharing league. They're part of a franchise. But this allows a lot of opportunities for places like Seattle that have a lot of big local beer companies to reach out and possibly start advertising in their local market. Brew houses are huge out here, man. Huge. Hey, I'm putting this into the ether today. Today is the day of hopeful wishes. Seattle. Just take a stroll down in, past Pioneer Square on First Ave. Go to the Elysian Brew House. Kick open that door and talk to the general manager there. I guarantee they would love to work with you. They're right across the street from the stadium. Right where all of your sports stores are. You can maybe work a deal with getting some of the merch in there. They sell t-shirts. They sell hats. Do a little deal. Maybe you can work a deal with them with playing some of the matches inside the bar that's now open. Mm-hmm. And have a lot of big TVs. And again, they're across the street from the stadium. Work on it, man. That's all I need. That's all I need from you. Just work on it. They sell Elysian all around the States. So even though you're working with a local company, and be able to advertise all around the States. That's perfect. There you go. We figured it out. You now have your foot in the door of the local market. Pretty sure you guys can work out a deal.
Well, here's my mentality is, as soon as I hear like, okay, CDL itself and CDL teams are open to having conversations with alcoholic beverage sponsors, my mind goes back to the London stage event that happened in the United Kingdom, where the venue literally sold out of alcohol.
Yeah, so sick. And they were chanting, bro. You could hear it over the the commentators weren't loud enough because the crowd was so loud. See, this is, dude. We need good COD and good beer. Gosh dang it. That's all we need. Just give it to us. Oh, okay. This provides an interesting question. And possibly, do you think, since there would be open, I'm willing, Hector Rodriguez, the owner of Optic Gaming, is now starting up a marijuana business. Mm-hmm. Do you think that could possibly become a part of Teams, not the league, but Teams itself?
I don't see it anytime soon. No.
That would be.
That's a whole other can of worms. That any big corporation like an Activision, Microsoft, especially a Nintendo, they don't want marijuana associated anywhere with their product.
Well, I would say that's true. However, the Call of Duty as a game is pretty open about its players partaketh of the marijuana, so much so that they sell skins in the game with marijuana plants on them.
That is true. That is very true, and that's something I didn't even consider. And you know, the funny thing here too is, and here we go, full transparency. Talked about it before. I'm in a different environment. You guys can tell I'm not where I normally am. I am currently in Las Vegas, Nevada, working on a project I can tell you guys more about later. But I just drove by Allegiant Stadium, which is the new home for the Raiders.
Looks like a hockey puck.
Every single advertisement outside of that stadium on their LED billboards was for marijuana dispensaries. So maybe maybe the Raiders will be this first kind of professional team that fully embraces, hey, we're going to accept the sponsorship. To us, it's dollars at the end of the day, and it's no different than alcohol. Maybe once we get that first team to really kind of break out and do that, then perception will change and we'll see a lot more. Because like even in the world of esports, like we've seen marijuana sponsorships, like, but it's kind of like mostly it's ostracized.
Yeah, well, and it's like weed maps. It's like we do things. Check out our website. Yeah. That's really, they obviously don't talk about it at all. But Bud Light's like, drink Bud Light. By the way, don't drink if you're.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was just an interesting question that I think it does kind of bring up, because if you're looking more of Call of Duty is one of those games that's actually kind of perfect for it, man. Like your broadcast is a little bit more adult, I should say, because when you go into the team listen-ins, they don't take out the bad words. They know players swear in their call-outs. And sometimes the casters, they meme with some adult jokes, and it's definitely less kid friendly than most of your esports. But that's why I think that's what makes the CDL kind of special. Sometimes it does cater to that more adult audience.
Is the game still in for mature?
Yep. And you have to be 18 to be a pro.
Yeah.
You have to be a legal age. So you have to be able to consume adult content in order to even play the game at a professional level, which is something that's interesting to me.
I just feel like that's a tricky situation. I mean, they're doing it with alcohol, but it's like if you have someone who is playing in your professional league who can't even be of legal age to consume alcoholic beverages, that's a whole other interesting topic too. Like, could you imagine them like an 18-year-old?
I know all the London players are happy. They're all like, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's a topic that's going to be brought up, man. An 18-year-old at some point is probably going to be advertising alcohol. Because we're like one of the only countries where it's 21.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky topic. It's a tricky topic. But let's go ahead and get into our predictions over the weekends. I know your and I bracket are going to look very different again. They usually do.
I just wanted to take a moment because we do have the current. Actually, let me click on this here. The regular season standings. So we'll just do top 3, bottom 3, and then everything else is in the mix there. So Atlanta FaZe currently number 1, top of the leaderboards, 18 wins, 3 losses. Dallas sitting number 2, 14 wins, 9 losses. New York Subliners 14 wins, 8 losses. So there's a very close gap there.
Right.
And I'll throw in Toronto Ultra there. So they actually are 15-9, but from a points standpoint, they haven't won a lot of the games that they needed to. So those are your top 4. Bottom 3, Paris Legion 5-12, London Royal Ravens 4-13, Seattle in dead last with 4-14.
Hey.
So,
but
I'm curious how much this leaderboard is going to shake up after this weekend, because I predicted a lot of upsets in my eyes.
Right. So I mean, if you're looking at this, because you have to keep in mind that these bottom 9, 10, 11, and 12, they will not make it to champs this year.
Yeah.
Not every team makes it to champs. So this is the first time that's ever gonna happen. So your top 8 teams, they're going to be the ones essentially making it to your playoff. So if you're Surge, London, Paris, and Gorillas, you got to think of how many points are you behind. And really the teams that you're gunning for, I mean, Minnesota, they got off to a hot start this year. They were looking pretty good. So they're chilling at 130. But you're looking at Florida Mutineers. They're kind of low-hanging fruit right now. They're at 90 points. They're only 10 above LAG. Seattle Surge play LAG. So if they, let's say they win 2 series. Let's say they beat Optic. They're only 10 points behind. They're only 10 points behind LAG. That means they're 20 points behind a league spot. I mean, we're at stage 3, so these bottom teams are going to have to pick it up. They're going to have to start winning matches. But when you look at the teams above them, but it's like, who are they going to be?
Yeah.
Because you have Florida, Minnesota, LA Thieves, Optic, Toronto, New York, Dallas, and FaZe. Who are you going to beat? Those are all amazing teams. You're going to have to play next level Call of Duty to beat these next level teams. I feel like this is a perfect, because even Florida, man, I feel like Florida, the way they performed this last week, they'll probably jump up in points. They'll probably jump up past Minnesota. Like, if I'm being honest, they're in winner's bracket. All they have to do is win one match. They get awarded more points than Minnesota, and then boom, they might be in 7th. Like, it's one of those things, man, where we knew the skill when the Call of Duty franchise, we knew the skill level was going to be high, but I mean, I don't want to play against any of these bottom teams.
Yeah.
But I know these bottom teams don't want to play against any of the top 8 teams. Like, there's it's not a big skill gap. It's there, but dude, you have to start the season off good, man. I think that's a lot of these teams don't realize that. They try to stick with a certain team. I think Dallas has done a good job at holding teams off. But if they get doubled out and New York wins one series, New York's ahead of them.
Yeah.
They drop in the standings, and then boom, you're out of a top 2 spot for champs. You're out of a top 2 seeding for champs. That's important, because last year it's going to be the same shit. It's going to be the first 2 teams, seed 1 and 2. They're going to be further along the bracket. They're going to have a couple buys. They're going to be guaranteed prize money. Atlanta last year was guaranteed like $250,000 for being second seed. Yeah. Like, if they would have lost twice in a row, if they would have won 0 matches at champs, they would have got $250,000. That's an amazing position to be in.
I think the thing that's deflating too is, like, this season, I don't know what it's been, but we've seen a lot of 3-0s. Seen a lot of 3-0s.
Yeah, but we've also seen a lot of game 5s, and a lot of unnecessary game 5s, especially when you're looking at a team like Dallas.
Yeah.
And Atlanta, even Atlanta this year, they've gotten in trouble with a couple of game 5s.
Yep.
So I mean, I feel like anybody can beat anybody, but if you're one of these bottom 4 teams, you need to start doing it consistently, man. It needs to be a thing. But let's go ahead and look at the bracket. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start with losers round 1. We're gonna go through our CDL predictions. So our first match is, we're gonna do elimination round 1 and 2 first, and then we'll move on from there. I have, from elimination round 1, the first match of the weekend. Oh wait, no, we're gonna do winners round 1. We're doing Thursday. My bad. Yep. Elimination round 1, winners round 1. That's weird that they did that. Anyway, so Thursday, our first match of the day is gonna be LA Gorillas versus Seattle Surge. I feel like if Seattle Surge has any chance of beating a team, gosh dang it, it's gonna be this team. LA Gorillas look pretty decent in some of their matches, but they didn't look very good in the Search and Destroy, and that's where Seattle looked good on, and they didn't look good in the Hardpoint, and that's where Seattle hasn't been strong. I think this is a 50-50. My better half is taking taking control. Seattle Surge, I believe, is winning 3-1. I think they're going to win the hard point. They're going to win the search. They're going to lose the control, and then they're going to win the hard point. It's my gut feeling.
I have the same score, but I have it flipped. I think LA Gorillas are going to beat Seattle Surge 3-1. I think that Surge, based off their performance this past week, are going to win the S&D, but they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to come back.
That's tough.
Yeah,
that's tough. We'll see, man. We'll see. I hope that's not the case. We're gonna move on. London Royal Ravens versus Paris Legion. I have London squeaking this out 3-2. Something's telling me Paris is gonna come out and throw up some hands. But London looked pretty good this last week. Paul X played amazingly.
Mm-hmm. I have the reverse. I have Paris Legion. I have this as a 3-2. Here's what's funny. I'm very confident that Paris is going to win this match. Very, very, very confident. But I have it going to a game 5 because I think that London's going to play their hearts out. They just got a new sponsor. You know, they've got all this momentum behind them. They're going to play their hearts out, but they're going to elimination round 1. They're done.
You're going to fall flat. Okay, we're going to move on to winners round 1. First match of winners round 1 is going to be Atlanta versus Dallas. I have Atlanta winning, but I have them winning 3-2. Something's telling me that Dallas is starting to figure out what the position is. They're starting to figure out how to work around the map. I think it's going to be close. And I say that in 2 ways. I don't mean that as Dallas is going to overperform. I also think that Atlanta might underperform a little bit here. I think Atlanta has been struggling a little bit. They lost to New York recently. They played really well against Seattle. That doesn't mean very much. But I don't know, man. Atlanta, I feel like Atlanta, they could struggle in this match. I do think they win it, though.
I have this as a 3-1 for Atlanta. I just don't think Dallas has enough turnaround time to get their team into shape. I think, though, I have Dallas doing better in the lower bracket, but for this match coming in, there's no way they're going to be Atlanta caliber.
Okay, fair enough. Now I have the Florida Mutineers versus the LA Thieves. I struggled with this one a little bit.
I struggled with this one, too.
I want LA Thieves to win. So I picked them to win. That's how I went about this one because I was thinking about this and I want them to succeed. I want Hook to prove Dallas wrong. I want LA Thieves to do better than Dallas. I have LA Thieves winning this.
I as well flipped last second. I have LA Thieves winning this one 3-1.
That's why
against Florida Mutineers. But that's like again, like that's me like willing it into fruition. Like on paper, Mutineers are a better team.
Yeah, they could beat them. They could
clearly beat them, but I feel like LA Thieves again. Like I feel like this is like that moment. Like everybody collectively putting their energy together to try and push LA Thieves.
I hope LA Thieves does a lot better than Dallas this event. I kind of hope they stick it to them. All right, so now we're gonna move on to Friday. We have another 4 matches on Friday. We're gonna start with your elimination round 2. I have Seattle versus Optic. I have Optic winning 3-1.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Easy enough.
I hope they lose. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong. I'll be super excited. But I have Seattle losing this. And then
I have this Optic versus LA Gorillas for this Elimination 2 round 1. And I actually have it 3-2 for Gorillas.
Oh shit.
I think Optic is just crash and burn. They are out early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's an interesting elimination round 3 then. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to elimination round 2. We got Minnesota versus London. Dude, I see the light at the end of the tunnel with this Minnesota Rocker squad. I really do, man. They have fantastic players. They have a great rookie. Attach is playing really good in Search and Destroy. The only problem child you have right now is Assault, and Assault's one of those players that can just pop off at any moment. I have him popping off. I have him beating London. I know you have a different matchup. I have him beating London 3-2.
I have this. So my matchup, I have Paris Legion versus Minnesota Rocker, and I actually think that matchup will be close. Again, I've predicted many times before Paris technically being the underdog, so I have this as a 3-2 Paris Legion going over Minnesota Rocker.
Ooh, man, if either of us are right in the first round, the other person's getting destroyed.
Absolutely. This is a make or break weekend prediction.
Yeah. All right, so winners round 2. I have, and I believe you do as well, Toronto versus Atlanta FaZe. I don't know what it is, man. I think Toronto might be doing it. I think they might.
Really?
I think they might beat them again, man. They beat them last time they played. I think they'll beat them again. I think Toronto's going to win 3-2. I think it's going to be close, but I think it's going to come down the search.
I have the flip of this. I think it's going to be a close game as well. I feel like this is probably going to be the best match of the entire series to watch. Aside from maybe the grand finals. I have this 3-2 Atlanta FaZe going over Toronto Ultra. I think that FaZe has had a lot of time since the last major. I think they've done their practice. They know what to expect coming into this one. It's still going to be a very close game, but Atlanta FaZe 3-2.
Fair enough. All right, then we both have the LA Thieves versus New York Subliners. Not going to lie, I'm hopping on the train this weekend. I think Subliners is going to win 3-1.
I'm so happy to hear that because I have also predicted it 3-1. But for LA,
dude, no way. Dude.
I know this is dumb. And coming off of last week, Subliners
they're the first seed, man, in their division.
Subliners completely stomped LA Thieves. I think with this current roster for LA Thieves, they've learned their lesson. And they're going to turn it around, at least in this specific matchup. I could be completely wrong, and I hate to do this to New York because I've been cheering for them all season. They're clearly like one of my top teams, but I feel like LA Thieves, there's going to be a lot of review of their matches. There's going to be a lot of specific training for this matchup. I think they're going to coast into this winners round 2, and they're going to know full good and well how to take off New York Subliners.
All right. Saturday, we have a plethora of matches. We have 5 matches on Saturday. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first one that happens at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. Super early elimination round 3 match. Saturday is going to be kind of the gauntlet for some of these teams. I have Dallas versus Chicago. This is a hard one for me, man. Both these teams are in a slump. I, however, said going into this series, I said I want Dallas to do worse than LA Thieves. So I have Chicago winning for no reason.
Other than spite.
In the elimination round 3. So you have LAG versus Dallas.
Correct. I have my elimination round 3 first match. Dallas Empire versus LA Gorillas. 3-0 Dallas.
3-0 Dallas?
Should be easy. Easy peasy on to the next one.
Fair enough. Yep, on to the next one. Let's get it. We have at 12 noon, whatever you want to call it, we have Florida Mutineers versus Rocker. This is the matchup. I have manifested the matchup that I wanted to see. That's what I was trying to do with this prediction. I tried to get them both in the same spot. After watching both of these teams perform over the last weekend, I think Florida Mutineers have the best opportunity right now to beat a squad like Minnesota, and I think they do 3-2. This is Paris for you, though, right?
Yeah. Surprisingly, I predicted this the same. So this is my bracket here lines up. It's Florida Mutineers versus Paris Legion, match 2 of elimination round 3. I'm saying Florida Mutineers will beat Paris Legion 3-2.
And then
I don't think any team you slot. I don't think it doesn't matter. Any team you slot in there into that round playing Florida Mutineers, I think that Mutineers are going to take them. Unless if something really crazy happens and one of the top, like there's a huge upset round 1, round 2 that forces Mutineers to play somebody different. I think it's going to be a close series. I would love to see Paris advance farther, but Mutineers are just too consistent. That's the thing.
All right, we're going to move on. Saturday elimination round 4, 1:30. I have LA Thieves versus Optic. I kind of manifested this matchup as well in my bracket. I don't think Optic deserves the win. That's all I'm going to say. I think LA Thieves win that 3-1.
I have this as New York Subliners versus Dallas Empire. I have Subliners taking it 3-2. Another close series.
Clay versus Crim. I like it.
Yeah.
I like
it. That's the matchup that I'm trying to will into fruition.
All right, then we have Atlanta FaZe versus Florida Mutineers. Well, I do at Elimination Round 4. I have FaZe winning that 3-0. I don't feel like something's telling me that they're going to stop. They're going to lose, and then they're going to catch fire. That's how I feel Atlanta's going to play out.
Yeah, I have the same thing, but the opposite end. I have Toronto Ultra versus Florida Mutineers, and I have that as a 3-0 as well.
Okay. And then I have, so Saturday, winners final. That's the last one for Saturday. Winners final, I have Toronto Ultra and Subliners. I have Subliners winning 3-2.
Oh my gosh!
I have them making it all the way to the final.
I feel like I finally rubbed off some of the Subliners hype onto you. It makes me very happy, but I'm like, for whatever reason, this is not the major for them in my eyes. I have, so winners finals, I have Atlanta FaZe versus LA Thieves. I have this as an easy 3-1 for Atlanta.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and move on to Sunday. I now have LA Thieves versus Atlanta. I have Atlanta, though, struggling a little bit more. 3-2 for Atlanta. I could see that going either way, though, to be honest with you. If Hook comes into form, if LA Thieves have figured it out, I don't think it's been enough time. But if they figure it out, I have them losing, though. I still have them losing. 3-2.
Yeah. I have my Elimination Round 5 and it's funny because we basically inverted the bracket. So I have Elimination Round 5, New York Subliners versus Toronto Ultra. I have this as a very close match. I have Toronto Ultra beating Subliners 3-2. But that could go either way. I would hope that it would go the other way.
Wait, so who's your elimination final?
Elimination final, that's LA Thieves versus Toronto Ultra.
Okay.
That for me, if I'm putting a lot of stock in LA Thieves, then I should say this should be a close series. On paper, I really don't think it is. Yeah. I have it 3-2 for Toronto Ultra, but it's more than likely going to be a 3-1.
I have Toronto Ultra versus FaZe again. They made up in my winners bracket. I feel like Atlanta learned a lot. I feel like Atlanta is going to beat them in the elimination final when it matters, and they're going to make it to a grand final.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your grand final. Who do you have?
So major final, I have Atlanta FaZe meeting up again with Toronto Ultra.
The rematch.
I feel like they're the easily the most consistent two teams in the league, easily the most intimidating two teams in the league. I have this Toronto Ultra winning another major, taking Atlanta FaZe 5-3.
All right, on my major final, Sunday, May 16th, starting at 3 p.m., I have New York Subliners beating Atlanta FaZe. I think this is going to be it. I have the feeling, dude. I have the feeling. Something tells me, man. Something tells me.
I'm going to hit you with the real talk. Screw my predictions. I want yours to come true. I don't care from the leaderboards. I don't care if I get big goose eggs. I don't care if you just pass me with a crazy amount of points with our own internal predictions leaderboard. I want yours to come true. I would love to see Subliners. And the other thing too is that creates so much diversity then from Major 1, Major 2, Major 3 instead of seeing a back-to-back champion situation. I would love to see Subliners sitting on top of the throne going into the next.
Me too. I think the time, dude. I think it's rounding around the corner. I want to see New York Subliners come into form. Past halfway through the season, I want to see them round up for champs. I would love to see Clay win a 4th champs, dude.
I would absolutely, dude.
Do you know how crazy that storyline is? That's the most anime story I've ever heard.
Part of my motivation behind backing New York Sub so hard is the fact that he was dropped from Dallas after winning the championship last year.
Yeah, and it's looking like one of the best ARs in the game this year.
Yeah.
Looking like a superior AR. Well, that's all of our predictions. If everything goes up, I have New York winning and you have Toronto winning. I have Toronto falling in 3rd. So it could be a crazy weekend. Obviously, our brackets ended up way different than I thought they would. But yeah, man, it could be like that. It could be like that. So,
yeah, I don't think there's a lot of at least the way that I predicted my bracket, I don't see a lot of upsets.
No.
I mean, in theory, LA Thieves performing better than I think a lot of people would. That's in theory an upset, but like we're pretty clear and cut in going into this major.
Yep. Yeah, we have reasons for everything. But that is our CDL show running off at about, looks like a little over an hour, right? Yeah, we're right at an hour. This is perfect timing. We're gonna go ahead and turn up that music just a little bit once I find the tab for it, because I have a million tabs open right now. Oh, and Challengers starts this weekend as well, I believe. They start back up this weekend. Yeah, the 15th and 16th is the Open Cup. So like big Challengers event. We'll cover that the following week. Go ahead and round this up. I'm super excited for Major 3. I hope New York slaps the doo-doo out of everyone. I think it could be the event. I don't know, man. I got a good feeling. I think this is going to be a banger. There's going to be a lot of good series. Could be the best. Could be the best event yet. I hope viewership's good, obviously. A lot of money on the line. A lot of CDL points, man. Some of these bottom 4 teams, major's a real opportunity to win some points. Get out of that bottom 4 and start earning some big points and make your way up there. All it takes is a top team to fall and a lower team to go up, and the CDL standings could change real quick.
Oh, yeah. Complete flip.
Still have 2 more stages. But yeah, this has been the LFTG podcast, episode 32, CDL show edition. Thanks for watching. Sitting next to me, always kinda, but not really, is
Mohawk Mike. Go Subliners! I hope you are 100% correct and I am 100% wrong.
Go Seattle and go Subliners. I hope Seattle wins a freaking match, dude. They lost 5 in a row.
I love how you have, I want this team to win the major, and I want this team to win a match.
Well, dude, if Seattle were just to come out and win it all, I'm blacking out. I'm getting hammered.
Absolutely.
I'm getting hammered.
That's what happened last time kind of with Toronto Ultra. They just like,
they were 8th.
With going into Winners Finals, they said in the pick'ems, it was less than like 0.03% of the pick'ems had Toronto Ultra, even in the grand finals.
Yeah, there was more people. There was more people on the Toronto staff. The more people predicted CDL for them to win. So that means their own staff didn't even predict them to win.
Yeah.
Wild. But all right, we're going to go ahead and end it out there. We're going to transition, and I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Enjoy some COD.